Hello viewers, R.P. Srivastav here with a new topic in economics, that is critical appraisal of Higgs and Hansen synthesis. As we know that Higgs-Hansen synthesis is also called modern theory of interest. In my previous video, I have explained the modern theory of interest quite elaborately, but in that lecture I have left the one part, that is critical analysis part of the modern theory of interest. So what the critics has to say about modern theory of interest, that is Higgs-Hansen synthesis. Now I am going to discuss critical appraisal of Higgs-Hansen synthesis. As we proceed for the critical appraisal of modern theory of interest, it should not be concluded that the controversy over the determination of rate of interest is over. However, most of the economists believe that it is a quite improved theory of rate of interest determination, and most of the economists are satisfied with the Higgs-Hansen presentation, improvement and synthesis presented by them. But inadequacies are there and efforts are being made to come over it, as this theory having its own limitation. So going through criticism of this theory, let us first discuss what are the points of merit on the basis of which it is widely accepted theory of rate of interest determination. So let us discuss first merits. As Higgs-Hansen synthesis of the classical and the Keynesian theories of interest represents a significant advance in theory of interest determination. When we compare earlier theories like loanable fund theory, liquidity preference theory, we find that this synthesis is an advancement in way of interest determination. It is more general, inclusive and realistic approach to the determination of the rate of interest. Higgs-Hansen integration synthesizes the fiscal and monetary policies and the theory of income determination with the theory of money. Higgs-Hansen synthesis of the theories of interest has its own limitations. So what are the limitations that is going to be discussed here? Firstly, it is based on the assumption that the rate of interest is flexible, that is free to vary and is not rigidly fixed by the central bank. And if the rate of interest were not flexible, then the appropriate adjustment will not take place. So one of the limitation of this theory, that it assumes the flexibility of rate of interest, but in reality generally rate of interest is decided by the central bank. Secondly, this synthesis of interest theories is also based upon the assumption that investment is interest elastic, that is, investment varies with the rate of interest. If investments were not interest elastic, then also this synthesis breaks down because the necessary adjustment will not take place. Thirdly, Don Patinkin and Milton Friedman have criticized the Higgs-Hansen synthesis as being too artificial and oversimplified. They think that the division of the economy in two sectors, completely segregated two sectors, that monetary and real, is a artificial and unrealistic assumption. On the other hand, they are of the opinion that the monetary and real factors are interwoven and act and react on each other. Lastly, Patinkin also has pointed out that Higgs-Hansen synthesis ignores the possibilities of changes in the price level of commodities. He thinks that the various economic variables such as money supply, propensity to consume or save, investment and liquidity preference are not only influence the rate of interest and the level of income, but also the prices of commodities and services. He therefore suggests a more integrated and general equilibrium approach which involves the simultaneous determination of not only the rate of interest and the level of income, but also the prices of commodities and services. So, different limitations are pointed out by different economists, and on the basis of which it got a lot of criticism. So, these are the limitations, but lastly, where this theory stands, that is to be discussed. So, what is all about this theory and what will be the concluding remark? I will put forward this view in my next two slides. Let us, in context of discussing the critical appraisal of Higgs-Hansen synthesis, what most economists have to say about this. So, I am going to discuss under the heading concluding remarks. As W.T. Newlin observes that the whole concept of a stable equilibrium as set out in the ISLM model is unsatisfactory theory as a representation of the real world in which economic activities is characterized by critical fluctuations about a rising trend, and this behavior requires a model which, unlike the short-term static Keynesian model, reflects the effects of investment on capital stock and the effect of this on output. So, going through these 2 points, here the criteria of equilibrium as put forward by this synthesis, that S is equal to I and M is equal to L, will decide the point of equilibrium. But conclusively it can be said that equilibrium then required, having the 2 above points in mind as put forward by W.T. Newlin, the equilibrium then requires not only that S is equal to I and M is equal to L, but the growth rate should be consistent with the savings ratio and with the capital output ratio. So, here if we put forward with this viewpoint, having consideration of growth rate and saving ratio and capital output ratio apart from S is equal to I and M is equal to L, we got a more satisfactory situation regarding decision of rate of interest, that is about the theory of rate of interest determination. So, here these are the points to continue with the critical appraisal. Having concluding points regarding this slide discuss further about concluding remarks. As if interest is a mandatory phenomena, at least contemporary monetary theory must be on firm foundation. But this is not so. The monetary theory itself is in a state of flux. Monetary specialists generally take a more serious view of the inadequacies of existing theory, but few of them have any concrete suggestion for improvements. Failing suggestions by others, they have tended to turn either to econometric study of observed behavior, that is measurement with so little theory that it really does not matter, or to consciously academic exercises in dynamics of monetary growth. Theory with so little reality that it does not matter either. Next, on one important point, of course, has to be kept in mind that the central bank of the country can and does, by changing its bank rate, influence the whole structure of rate of interest, pure as well as gross, in the country, as also investment and employment therein. So, the role of central bank has to be kept in mind always, and the central problem is the determination of the rate of interest by means of which the capital values of existing sources of future income streams is determined. And the answer has to lie in the interaction between the willingness of the community to trade off present consumption possibilities against future consumption possibilities, and the opportunities they have for doing so by using present resources to produce future resources. Resources here being the potentiality of producing consumption goods. So, having all the points regarding the critical appraisal, it can be said that the discussion or controversy regarding interest rate determination, even after Higgs-Hansen synthesis, is not over, and various points are there that need for further inquiry. But lastly, it can be said that in comparison with earlier theories, it is certainly a bigger advancement, if complemented or supplemented by some of points as given under the heading concluding remarks. We come very near to a very good theory of the rate of interest determination. So, that is all about this modern theory of interest and its criticism. Now, with all this, I complete the interest determination. Thanks